What's good? You know, we back. About to go on a little video run. 3 straight videos. It's going to be the only boxing one. We'll come back a little bit later and do it again, unless we got some breaking news earlier than that. You know what it is, TBC and more. Your boy CJ Goodfellow. We back. And, you know, talking about, you know, 4 guys in major boxing media that suck monkey balls from, you know, my experiences or, you know, what I heard. And, I'm talking about who the worst one, you know. And obviously, you know, Stevie Kim, he does some work for Ring TV and boxing scene as well as Doug Fisher. He does most of his work on Ring TV. Now, starting off with Doug Fisher, I didn't have an issue with Doug Fisher and still don't. But I see a lot of people talk about how biased he is, you know. And, of course, Ring is owned by Golden Boy Oscar De La Hoya, I believe. And, of course, he's going to be biased. But the only time he really flew on my radar when he picked Canelo over Floyd Mayweather. And I'm like, you know, I was telling people, like, that's not even a match, you know. With or without the catch weight, that wasn't a match. Anybody with a boxing mind knew that fight wasn't going to be competitive. I don't care what you say. You know, people expected Canelo to fight like Madonna. I'm telling people, leading up to that fight, like, no, he's going to try to box with Floyd because he's a boxer, counterpuncher by nature. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, a lot of people weren't listening. And then, you know, after the fight, they want to try to diminish what Floyd did. Remember Doug Fisher saying it's a young man's game. He believed Canelo was going to beat up Floyd. I believe he thought he said he was going to stop him. And that just made me like, man, dude's an idiot, you know. Why is it that boxing fans, or boxing media as well, try to defy logic? They try to reinvent the wheel when they don't need to reinvent the wheel. You know, if you say the Hawk versus Joe Smo on the street, you know, Joe Smo, you know what I mean, the Hawk. Joe Smo ain't got a chance. But boxing fans, oh, you know, Joe Smo can go do this and do that. That boxing fans always try to reinvent the wheel or defy logic. I don't understand why boxing fans do it. It'd be clear as day that fighter A is gonna be fighter B. They try to make a case for fighter B. Oh no, it's because they don't like a certain guy. I believe 99.9% of the time, that's exactly what it is. They biased and they don't like a guy. Stevie Kim, you know, he's just a fucking racist idiot for most of the part. You know, he's another of those guys who hate PBC. But you can't take away from him and Doug Fisher. They do know something about the game. I won't hate. Stevie does write some solid articles, so he does, you know, some good articles as well sometimes when he's not being biased. So he does contribute in a positive way to boxing, and so does Doug Fisher. You know, and people could say the same thing about, you know, me and everybody else that do this YTBC thing. You could say, you know, you're going to have people that say they ain't feeling us, and, you know, people that feel them. But most of the time, you know, both of those who work for a company, they're hired to be, you know, biased towards that company. Now, if you dispatch them from that company, would they still hold that bias? I don't know. But Stevie Kim seems to be an idiot sometimes and is extremely hateful towards certain promotional companies, PBC, and other promotional companies and other things what they doing and try to, you know, disdaining, you know, try to take away from what they do. But again, he's hired by the competitor. So, I mean, you know, it is what it is. You know, you look at Jim Lampley. What is his great contribution to the sport of boxing? You know, I don't know. You know, I think it was the best HBO telecast for Billy Joe Saunders versus Dave Lemieux, only because Billy Joe Saunders took the biasness out of the air in HBO. He did. He boxed so well that even Harold Letterman gave him every round, and Harold Letterman always scores for the aggressor. So he took the biasness out of that telecast by his golden perfect performance or perfect S performance. And that's the only time I heard Jim Lampley, you know, not have to be correct and G-checked by Max Kellerman and Roy Jones. You know, that's the only positive contribution he made all year. The fight game is garbage. It's biased BS, especially when he tried to diss Mayweather a couple years ago about his domestic violence, and he has domestic violence on his criminal record. You know, so, you know, I don't know what his major contribution is to the sport of boxing. Dan Rayfield, you know, he does break some good stories. He got some insider. He's always he works for ESPN / Walt Disney / ABC, all same thing. Walt Disney owns it all if you didn't know. But you know, Dan, he's in like Top Rank's back pocket, Golden Boy's back pocket. Even before they came over to ESPN, he was already lodged in their back pocket, and he was already the food was already stuffed down his throat from the Top Rank elegant buffet that they have. As far as the Golden Boy buffet as well, he got a biscuit slug on his throat right now. They pay for him, they accommodate him to come out there and cover the fights. He's another one that got a problem with Al Haymon and PBC, and probably low-key a little white supremacist low-key. I wouldn't put it past him. Some of the stuff that he says and some of the hateful things that he tries to downplay from them. But he does contribute to the sport of boxing in a positive way as far as, breaking news. He hosts that little, weekly chat that he does respond to the fans. And, but at the end of the day, he's another guy. Even though he's in a separate entity from, ESPN, the Top Rank, but he's funded by them. He's paid to endorse them. He's paid to by them to, slang PBC. And the only one here that doesn't make a positive contribution to the sport of boxing, in my opinion, is Jim Lampley. So he's the worst of the bunch, in my opinion. That's my opinion. Who y'all, who the worst to do in the media, major boxing media to y'all? Let me know.